Yeah, I've seen this movie. It doesn't end well for us, it turns out. The people. This is the creepiest and scariest, most dystopian view. If you think there's probable cause to believe that a crime is taking place, go get a warrant. It's the MO of the federal agency. Identify problem and go out and use tact 3, 4, and 5. Those tactics have not changed. So this is very disconcerting. And apparently she was found using Flock stuff. I'm not a big fan of Flock. I got a quick video for you about Flock and the way that the Flock people, the CEO of Flock, who is a child, he's in his mid-20s from what I can tell, the CEO of Flock considers you to be terroristic if you don't want to be surveilled by a private company that takes things that maybe you don't have a reasonable expectation of privacy, but it gathers them in a way that the government would normally have to subpoena, but instead they are able to purchase it because it's done through a private corporation. This is the thing that we should be working. This is like, I guarantee Tom Massey would be against this. And I guarantee our founding fathers would be against this. The entire purpose of the federal government going to get a warrant. This is the same complaint against the FISA 702. One of the craziest things that people do not realize is that our federal agencies, to include ICE, have intelligence capabilities built in, and intelligence does not target criminality. It targets threat, and threat is nebulous. And it's ill-defined. Some people would read things that I've posted, nasty things that I've gotten online, and I've just reposted them. I had somebody out there saying that she or he or it could be a bot for all I know, definitely something that looks like mental illness, was ranting on a CIA website and then taking screenshots of said rant and posting them, and it included what could be implied to be threats against my wife. To the point where my parents were legitimately concerned about it. They read it and they were like, we're worried. That seems unhinged. And my answer is, if somebody comes into the real world, not from the internet, not from typing on a CIA website, but wants to show up and do harm to my family, I will deal with them accordingly. I hope it's a one-way ticket on their end so they didn't waste the return fare. It's not a fruitful ground. This is not a soft target. I'm not a soft target. My family are not soft targets. Like, I'm hyper violent when it comes to the idea of defending them. So I don't worry about it all that much. But they're just thoughts that they could be threats. They're implied threats. That's enough for the federal government to open full cases on you. They can articulate an intelligence case against you, the listener, right now. You're sitting out there. You can be articulated as a potential threat. If somebody inside one of these federal agencies, specifically my old one, but others as well, if they were to think this person could be targeted by a foreign nation, and because they could be a target, the threat that we're worried about could be focused on this person, we can investigate that person. I know that I've had this happen to me. I know that it's happened to me. I know it's happened to the other suspendables. 100% chance. The justification for opening was far too easy. Seraphin could be a target by Russia, Iran. Press.tv, which is Iranian state media, reached out to me years ago. And because I could be targeted by that threat, I could become part of that threat if I were to say, I don't know, acquiesce to the demands or jump in and decide to do an interview or talk to or share information with, like, something that they think is a problem. So they'll investigate me as though I were part of the threat to defend me from the threat that has never materialized. Do you know how crazy that is? Do you know how nutty it is to think that because I could represent a threat and because someone could look into me from another country, that I might make a potential bump target? They better make sure they know everything about me so they can protect me from myself and from all these evil, nefarious actors, these threats. And now the government has a non-criminal, actionable intelligence basis to go out and build all the stuff on me. They can get my bank records. They can get my phone calls. They can get my contacts. They can find out the people who are subscribed to my podcast. They can go and pull which IP addresses are logging in on a regular basis to listen, for all I know. I mean, the opportunities exist, and they've certainly expanded since I was in. How crazy would it be that we are okay with them, like, operating on a threat? And that's why when they say that they're going to go around the warrant requirement and just buy something, now, even in the space of the criminal prosecution, they can get away from it. And that's exactly what this Flock guy is articulating. And if you don't like that, if you don't like being spied on by a third-party private company that also works on behalf of your governmental entities. By the way, that's like what fascism is. When the government makes incentives for private companies to do exactly what they want, and then they're rewarded richly for doing so because they got in line. That's literally what fascism was always about.
The CEO of Flock, if you even try to map where his cameras are in your city, you're a terrorist.
There's an organization called DeFlock, who are semi-well known now, I guess, if you're interested in this stuff, who take a fairly aggressive approach in terms of counting the number of cameras and having a Discord channel where they talk about potential, activities to move against Flock and stop it expanding.
And then unfortunately, there's terroristic organizations like DeFlock, whose primary motivation is chaos. They are closer to Antifa than they are anything else.
This is pretty ironic coming from the guy who proudly says he's putting hundreds of thousands of cameras across America.
But to your point, we have really three broad buckets of technology. We have devices that detect evidence. So, we mentioned a camera that focuses on car. We have cameras that focus on people. We have gunshot detection. That's really like things that capture that evidence. And then we have AI that decodes it. So one of the problems that we create unintentionally is, well, if you have 100 license plate readers, you now have a lot of information. How do you decode that with AI? And so we have a product we call Freeform that allows you to type in English language heuristics, something like, I'm looking for a Ford F-150 from the 1990s with a racing stripe and rust on the front.
Guys, this is the scariest piece.
And we'll find that car. And then we have a third bucket of software and hardware that is really how do you deliver and respond faster. So we manufacture drones. So when a 911 call comes in, instead of having to wait for an officer to show up, boom, you click a button, the drone is there in 30 seconds, in 45 seconds. And then
yeah, I've seen this movie. It doesn't end well for us, it turns out. The people, this is the creepiest and scariest, most dystopian view. And if you are young enough to think this is good, it just means you didn't grow up in the era when I did. All of these warnings were already given out to everybody for free. You can watch them on network television at this point. You can watch all the Terminators. You can watch every single make of every single thing that Philip K. Dick wrote about. You can go to your library and check out the Philip K. Dick books and all of his novellas. This has been imagined, and all the permutations of it end up being twisted for evil, legitimately evil, and not serving human purpose. So what the hell are we doing here? I don't want federal agents showing up and tracking down a woman using flock cameras because she happened to say she thinks somebody should be indicted. Gagne was working as a poll worker Tuesday afternoon in the Central Library in Salina Street when the agents were called to meet her, and she invited them in. Oh, they're like vampires. Don't ever invite them in. What are you guys doing? Listen, A, B, C, D. Federal agents want to talk to you. You should always be closing the door. Clip that. Don't answer the door for federal workers. Don't invite them in to talk to you at your place of business. What are you talking about?